You know, sometimes life throws you a curveball so wild, you can't help but watch it fly. My story is one of those. It's about betrayal, heartbreak, and the most unexpected kind of karma you could ever imagine. And it all started with my ex-wife, Kayla. Our marriage wasn't perfect, but I thought it was solid. We had our ups and downs, like any couple. But I truly believed we were building a life together. Then one day, the ground beneath my feet just fell away. I started noticing little things. Kayla was always on her phone, smiling at texts, but getting defensive if I asked who it was. She'd go out for girls' nights more and more often, coming home late, smelling of perfume that wasn't hers. The final straw was a gut feeling I just couldn't shake. I came home early from a work trip, planning to surprise her. Surprise her I did. Her car wasn't in the driveway, which was odd for that time of day. I walked in, and the house was silent. But then I heard a noise from our bedroom. My heart hammered in my chest. I walked to the door, pushed it open, and there she was. Not with just anyone, but with a man I didn't recognize. The look on her face wasn't just guilt, it was shock. I was the last person she expected to see. I didn't scream, I didn't yell. I just felt this cold, hollow emptiness. I turned around, walked out of the house, got in my car, and just drove. That night, I packed a bag and left for good. The divorce was messy and painful, but eventually, it was over. I was free, but I was also broken. I spent the next year just trying to put myself back together, piece by piece. I focused on my work, hit the gym, and reconnected with old friends. Slowly, I started to feel like myself again. Now, this is where the story takes a turn. About 2 years after the divorce, I was at a networking event for my industry. It was a pretty standard affair, small talk, business cards, the usual. I was chatting with a group of people when a woman joined our circle. Her name was Sarah. She was sharp, funny, and we immediately hit it off. We talked for most of the night, and as the event was winding down, she mentioned she was recently separated. She spoke about the pain of discovering her husband's infidelity, how it had completely blindsided her. I felt a pang of sympathy. I knew that feeling all too well. We exchanged numbers, promising to grab coffee sometime. A few days later, we did. We talked for hours, sharing our stories of betrayal. It was cathartic, finding someone who understood the exact kind of heartbreak I'd been through. We started seeing each other more regularly, not necessarily as a couple, but as two people supporting each other through a difficult time. One evening, we were having dinner at my place. Sarah was scrolling through her phone and she suddenly went completely still. She let out a small, choked sound. I asked her what was wrong. She turned the phone to me, her finger pointing at a picture on her husband's old social media page. It was a group photo from a company picnic a few years back. And standing right next to her husband with his arm around her was my ex-wife, Kayla. My blood ran cold. I looked closer. The man in the photo. He was the man from my bedroom. It all clicked into place. The late nights, the secret phone calls. The man my wife had been cheating on me with was Sarah's husband, Trevor. We just stared at each other, completely speechless. The world suddenly felt incredibly small. It turned out Trevor and Kayla had been carrying on their affair for over a year before I caught them. When I left, Kayla had hoped Trevor would leave Sarah for her. But he didn't. He was a classic cheater, he wanted. The thrill of the affair, but had no intention of leaving the comfort of his marriage. So he'd ended things with Kayla shortly after my discovery, leaving her with nothing. She had blown up her marriage for a man who used her and then tossed her aside. Sarah, meanwhile, had found out about Trevor's cheating through other means not long before we met. She had no idea who the other woman was, only that her husband had broken their vows. And here I was, the unwitting husband of that other woman. The irony was so thick you could cut it with a knife. We sat there for a long time just processing this insane coincidence. It was a bizarre cosmic connection. Two people hurt by the same affair, brought together by sheer chance. But instead of it being awkward or painful, it was clarifying. It felt like the universe was tying up loose ends. For Kayla, her karma was swift. She lost her husband and the man she cheated with in one fell swoop. She tried to rebuild her life, but from what I've heard through mutual acquaintances, she struggled. She ended up alone, having sacrificed everything for a fantasy that was never going to happen. For Trevor, his life also unraveled. Sarah, armed with the full story, had all the leverage she needed in their divorce. She was able to walk away with a fair settlement and her dignity intact. His reputation took a hit, and he lost a lot of respect from friends and colleagues who learned the truth. And for me, I was the instrument of karma without even knowing it. By meeting Sarah, I inadvertently gave her the final piece of the puzzle she needed to close that chapter of her life. And in doing so, I closed my own. Seeing the full picture, understanding how it all played out, brought me a sense of peace I never thought I'd find. Sarah and I never became a romantic couple. Our bond was forged in shared trauma, and we both knew that building a relationship on that foundation wouldn't be healthy. But we became the best of friends. We helped each other heal, providing a unique support system that no one else could. We were the only two people on Earth who truly understood what the other had gone through. Sometimes, when you're in the middle of a storm, you can't see the way out. My divorce felt like the end of the world, but looking back, it was just the closing of one door to open another. It led me to an unlikely friendship and a sense of closure I desperately needed. It taught me that sometimes you don't have to seek out revenge or justice. Sometimes the universe just has a funny way of taking care of it for you. Karma, in this case, wasn't a vengeful force. It was just balance.